Hello and welcome to Invertebrate Zoology. Okay, let's get started on your invertebrate collection. That's kind of a neat part about this class. So, on the Blackboard site where we are, you'll find a folder down at the bottom that says Invertebrate Collection. Click on it. It's got a couple useful things down in there. One of them is the link. So this is the link where you're actually going to turn it in with a little ruler on the side. And so if you did a digital collection, turn it in here. There's actually two ways to do this collection. You can collect real bugs, put a real pin through them and a real little piece of paper on the pin or next to the bug, and that's totally fine. That is the old school method. Or there's the new school method where we don't actually kill any bugs, but you take a really good photograph with your mobile phone, good enough that you and close enough that you can actually see all the parts of this thing that you will need to identify it, and then you can build up a collection from there. So, looking through the instructions, and either way is just fine. But if you got actual bugs in a box, you're just going to bring those into class on the last class day, which is going to be when we do the final exam. So your task is to collect and identify 75 specimens, which is actually not too bad. It used to be 100 before I started this class, but yeah, I think 75 is reasonable. And you've got the entire term to do this. And so that just means that you need to be figuring out about 5 invertebrates per week in order to stay on track. And I think you can do that. So I'm about to post a video right here that'll take you through this. Actually, that's the video that you're watching right now. And so that'll be there replacing that other thing. And then I made a little sort of a demonstration to show you what's going on. So assuming I'm doing a digital one, because that's easier to show you. If you're going to do the actual physical one, you have everything except a picture. So for the physical one, you just print out a little thing that looks like that, and that would be good. You would stick that on or next to the bug. A lot of people will put the pin through the piece of paper for, let's see, the bug first, and then the piece of paper under the bug, and then stick that pin into the shadow box, and that's a real nice way to display them. But if you're doing digital, this is the way you do it. So I went out and grabbed a picture from the internet. And yeah, don't you do that, because you know who's real good at Google image reverse search? Me. I'm real good at it. So actually go out and take pictures of your bugs. It's more fun that way. The idea is to get you out in nature, something your grandparents are always telling you. And then what I want when you turn it in are these 4 bits of information. So number 1 is the common name of the thing. And so in this case, an Easter tiger swallowtail caterpillar, which is cool. The second thing, and your thing may be like an algae or something. And so a lot of little microscopic things do not have names. And basically, so in terms of what's valid, anything that you can go out and find yourself in nature is valid. Now, if you're going to a fish store, like if it's something that you could go and buy at a zoo or a fish store or something like that, that is not valid. Ordering seashells from eBay, not valid. Going to the beach and picking them up yourself, a lot of fun, totally valid. Yeah. So, but mostly I think you're going to end up with insects. You can't have any more than 50 insects in the collection, but that's 50 out of 75, and that's probably going to be the bulk. And that's just what you get around here. So yeah, common name, and then we're going to go for the scientific name, and you can use the common name to figure out the scientific name. There's usually Wikipedia pages for these things. Important thing about the scientific name, you want to put it in italics, and you want to make a capital letter for the genus and a lowercase letter for the species, because that's how it's done properly, and it'll just look like you know what you're doing if you do it this way. The third thing in there is I want an actual geolocation for where you found this thing. And so there are a couple ways to do it. You may have some kind of GPS feature on your phone or some sort of app you download. That's totally fine. The way I would do it is through Google Maps. So you pick out, so here I loaded it up on our campus, and yeah, Bass Building? What Bass Building? Same thing for the rec center. I don't know, Google needs to update their thing. This actually looks like just after they redug the lake for the second time. Anyway, zooming in. So our classroom is going to be right about there, looking out, and all in these little weeds that have since grown up around here. You'll find all kinds of bugs. You can catch them with your net. The other place that's really good is there's like a little walkway that's covered over on the front of the Science and Technology building, right under there. If you get there first thing in the morning, like 7:30 to 8 o'clock, there are all kinds of butterflies and moths and really neat insects that were basically out trying to find a mate in the night, and they got tired out and they just sit down and kind of give up there. I've found gigantic, gorgeous moths there. They're just, beautiful. And you can feed them back up on a little sugar water and set them free. That's a kind of a neat thing. But that's a great place to get some real exotic things you wouldn't see otherwise. Another thing to do is to vary the location where you go and vary the time of day. So we've got our little pond here, and our pond is not great in terms of ecosystem, but I bet you've never been out there. We've got nice little woods that backs onto the campus. And there's even a little hiking trail. If you're over here by BLV, you can go down here, and there we go. There's how we can get into the hiking trail right up there. You walk along the street, and sure enough, it goes all the way back in here, and there's all kinds of interesting stuff. And you're welcome to borrow a bug net if you want to go out and do that. Also, have a look around Bringle Lake. So there's a walking trail that goes all the way around the outside of Bringle Lake, all the way back to where the dam is, somewhere back here. There we go, the Bringle Dam, yeah. Watch out for the little tiny alligator that's supposed to live in there. But other than that, I think it's fine. Yeah, I don't think it's ever hurt anybody. And just go have a look. Don't flip over any logs that have snakes in them. But a little rustling through the leaf litter is not too bad with one toe. Yeah, something like that. Or bring your bug net. And so land, sea, air, doesn't matter. If it's an invertebrate, meaning it does not have bones, then I will totally accept it. It totally counts. And it can be microscopic or big as long as you found it all by yourself. And so if you're going out with somebody and you both see this really cool thing, you just got to decide between yourselves who gets to put it in the collection and who gets to just have a really cool memory of finding this thing. Because I only want to see each thing once. And like I said, I'm really good at doing fossils, recognizing exactly the same fossil in a different context or something. And I am a dab hand at spotting when two people have a picture of the same bug on the same background from a slightly different angle. So don't do that. Yeah, you're better than that. And there's a lot of bugs out there in the world. Oh my gosh, this is Texas, people. There are a lot of bugs in the world. And so anyway, in your Google Maps, you go in, you say, let's say we found it right down here. Let's say we were looking on the dock, which a lot of dragonflies and things will go and just sort of sit out on the dock, and you can get a good picture of them. So let's say we found it right there. Bam, you click on that in Google Maps, and it'll give you a nice little, there we go, little coordinates down here. And so you can grab those, copy them, and you can paste them in, and bam, you got it. And the last thing we need is a date, because for some things they change a lot over time. And this also turns your data into something that is potentially scientifically useful if we know exactly what date that thing was there. When they're studying bugs and how they move around and how climate change is affecting them, what date these things are hatching and going through different metamorphic stages is very, very important in trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So there we go. That's one nice little example with a fake image, fake as can be, but very pretty. It's a real caterpillar. I just didn't take it myself. Oh well. Let's see. What else do you need to know? Oh, how to identify these things. So we've got some identification books in the lab, but there are a lot of things online that you can just go through and look at them. Depending on what you've got, there are pages dedicated to butterflies and things like that. So for our particular caterpillar, there we go. I could just type in caterpillar in Texas, or you can type in caterpillar in Arkansas, because we'll have the same stuff, because as you know, we're right there. Yeah, Texarkana is not so far from Arkansas. I love those furry asp caterpillars. Those guys are great. And just go through and scroll down, because there's only so many things that you can actually find in Texas. And if it's a big photogenic bug, chances are somebody else is going to have taken a really nice picture of it. And so, hey, there we go. That's the same little thing. And so I was trying to figure out what this is, and so it says, okay, Central Texas Gardener, neat. And so it takes you to a little thing, and then it goes to a YouTube video. The YouTube video is here, and then I click through the YouTube video.
Hint of orange and the nodules along their back. Caterpillars are voracious.
Bam! There we go. That's our caterpillar. And it turns out they posted right on there. It is a later instar. Instar is like one of the metamorphic steps. Swallowtail caterpillar. So now we can narrow it down. We can type in swallowtail butterfly caterpillar, Texas. And by doing this, we can go through the images and we can actually get a pretty good idea. Yeah, there we go. That's our guy. Or is it that one? No, I think it was that one. We can get a pretty good idea of exactly what kind of creature ours is. So it's very pretty. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. Little black swallowtail caterpillar. Okay. So that's your job. You just got to stay on track. You got to keep filing those bugs and whatever else away. So 50 of them can be insects. The other 25 are going to be things like other arthropods that aren't insects. So something like a mite or a tick, and please don't get bitten by it, but please do collect it. Centipedes, millipedes, spiders, these are all arthropods, but they are not insects, and so they don't count toward the 50. So they're part of that 25 of other things. If you get down by the pond, you will find that just sort of flip over a leaf, you will have flatworms, you will have all kinds of snails, little teeny weeny snails of 2 or 3 different kinds in there. And yeah, the more you look in the world, the more of these weird, wonderful little creatures you're going to find. And if you get a chance to go down to the beach somewhere like a Galveston or something, oh my gosh, that's a fun day out, and there's all kinds of stuff down there you can just pick up. So there we go. Those are the 4 things that I want for each one. And I'll give full credit if you've got all of those and a decent picture where we can kind of identify it and the name is at least reasonably right. In some cases, like with a dragonfly nymph, little larva, you can tell it's a dragonfly nymph based on the number of little things that look like tails coming off the back, but you cannot tell exactly which species it is going to become until it actually goes through metamorphosis. It's really hard from some larvae. So for something like that, you could identify it to the dragonfly group, for example, and so you'd find the scientific word for that. And that would be just fine. You're basically going to do your best. If you have a question about something and whether we can go a step further, talk to me. I'm pretty good at Googling too, and we may be able to find one of these things. But generally, if you're not sure about it, ask Grandma Google, and she is going to get you there 9 times out of 10. All right, thanks very much. That's been our instructional video for Biology 308.